The fear of asking to be paid.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's a very real thing, I promise.
I know that as I started to think about it, it's not now, not in where I'm at now, but thinking about current iterations of stuff that I've done, and
Hmm.
certainly the businesses that I've had in the past. I do remember very clearly
Yeah.
that fear of writing a proposal, that quaking feeling almost
Hmm.
of like handing somebody a proposal of what you thought the quote should be or something
Hmm.
like that.
Hmm.
It was a very strong fear.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How about you?
How about me? Oh, I've never had that. That idea of, first of all, quoting, like you say, so if you're kind of self-employed, or you have your own business, that fear of, are they going to think I'm asking too much, that kind of thing. So there's that. And in fact, I used to say, I remember as a singer, as a professional singer, being asked to do a corporate gig, so a performance for a business function. They said, how much do you charge? And I said, how much do you want to pay me? I literally did that. And so there's that.
Hmm.
But also what I had was, even when they knew that how much they were going to pay me and I just needed to ask them for it, that was like I would go into this anxiety state. It was so ridiculous. And this happened so again, as a singer, I would go and sing in a pub. And afterwards, I would sit and wait for them to come and pay me and put it off for ages instead of just going up and saying, hey, can I get my money now? It was so awkward. It was so cringy. And then as a writer as well, when I started doing writing work, again, the client had agreed how much they were going to pay me. I'd done the work. They were very happy with the work. And then when I thought about sending an invoice, I got this incredible, like, I could feel the adrenaline. My heart rate was going. It was as if I was going to be hanged at dawn, was the kind of feeling. And I eventually figured out what that was and where it was coming from, because of course it made no logical sense at all.
Yeah. And if any of this kind of resonates with you, or if you've had those kind of experiences, if you want to drop a comment down, share your thoughts or your experiences with that. It
Yeah.
could be asking to be paid, for work that you're doing, or it could be asking for a raise or
Mm-hmm.
anything
Yeah.
like that, that
Yeah.
is money related.
Yeah. And basically, sometimes it's our worth. We feel, oh, we're not worth that
Hmm.
much. Sometimes it's we know our worth, but we imagine that someone else is going to judge us for it, that we shouldn't be.
Yeah, I guess, the next obvious question is what's at the root of all of this?
Right.
Where is this coming from? More importantly, how do we get over that? How do we
Yes.
change that?
Yeah.
And
So,
why would we want to be talking about this today?
yeah. So, first of all, the end result. So, going to the end result first is that I no longer have that issue. And in fact, I now find it exciting and rewarding to send invoices. I feel we've done a great job and the client is happy, and I assume they're happy to pay me because those are the references I now have. So I discovered that the reason I was in such a state when it came to asking to be paid, in fact, asking for anything, to be honest, if I asked someone for the time, I felt nervous. Not as scared as I did with money, but I just had this ridiculous thing of not wanting to impose on someone or something like that. And I was a people pleaser as well. So that was all combined. But the fascinating link where this led back to was when my brother and my sister and I were growing up. As children, my family was very, very strict with manners and being polite and being considerate of other people. So we were raised with very strict manners, and that extended to, if you ask, you don't get. So it's the
Hmm.
opposite to what most people have, or many people have been taught. If you don't ask, you don't get. It's the opposite of that. If you ask, you don't get, because being polite, you wait to be offered. You don't ask. It's rude to ask.
Hmm.
So if we say, oh, could I have a biscuit or a cookie for the Americans? And then the adult would say, well, no, now that you've asked, you can't have it. You wait to be offered. My brain took that literally, and I was conditioned to fear asking, because if I asked, I wouldn't be given it. But of course, that makes no sense to the conscious mind. And that's because I was consciously completely unaware that that's what was happening. And I can see it so clearly sitting in the pub after my gig, looking at the bar, and the person who was supposed to pay me behind the bar, and they're busy with people. And I'm sitting there thinking I should go and ask. And as I would think of going to ask, though without my conscious awareness, the unconscious part of my brain was referring to those implicit childhood memories that proved the false evidence that if you ask, you don't get. And then it was pumping stress chemicals into my system that were causing that fear to prevent me from asking. But because I consciously didn't know that that's what was going on behind the scenes, I just thought I was scared to ask. Now, the key is when I changed that, when I changed those implicit memories to the opposite, positive and empowering, it's not only safe to ask, but you always get when you ask. It's the new false evidence that I put in my childhood. Now I no longer feel that fear. So now my brain is referring to the fact that it's safe and it's good to ask. And so I feel perfectly comfortable now.
And how do we go about doing that?
Well, so obviously it's a big topic, finding and changing the implicit childhood memories that are forming our self-image and worldview. And we've created a masterclass. It's free, a free masterclass in which we go through all of the details of how these references are created, the kinds of links you can find, and what needs to happen in order to change. So I've put the link to that in the description.
Yeah, we'll go into that in a lot more detail, but just out of curiosity, how long do you think it took you to actually make this shift or this change?
That is a great question. And it was pretty much overnight. It doesn't take long to change the memories and then establish them. And within, I would say, at least like a day or two, I was sending another invoice and not feeling frightened. It's very quick. And it's not a big effort either. It's pretty easy.
I know I've been able to do similar types of thing. I don't think I have as clear of an example. I know for me, that notion of asking to be paid, I know that there was just such a strong feeling of anxiety there, and almost like a physical reaction, like a panic attack almost sometimes in doing that. And I know that what I was able to discover was a lifelong pattern of anxiety. So the anxiety was just something that was
it was a more generalized
thing
foundation,
rather than, something as specific as that. So I know that for everybody, whatever those implicit references are, the proofs that are back there that are providing that tangible experience, so that reaction in the moment of being afraid to ask, to be paid or ask for what we're worth, it's going to be completely unique and different for each person. Figuring out those skills, figuring out the process, going through the process and going back and doing the detective work and figuring out what that was. And most importantly, being able to change
it. Absolutely. Yes. So I do want to clarify on what I said there. For me, with that particular issue, there was that particular memory. And when I changed that, I had that result pretty quickly. But yes, it's important to understand that there's a lot of different implicit memories that are very often supporting one particular limiting belief or pattern or that kind of thing. So it varies, but it certainly doesn't take long to change those memories in general. The key is, like you say, finding them as well.
And of course, everybody's going to be unique on that and how the kind of results that people get and how quickly that can happen. But I know that I've worked with several clients that have been able to make those shifts and changes. And it's always surprising how quickly we can change decades long held beliefs that are running in the background.
Absolutely. Join us on that masterclass. Again, the link is in the description. We would love to have you there. And of course, as always, let us know if you have any questions or you need clarification on anything, or if you have any requests for topics.
Please put those in the comments.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.